We've all played children's board games. It's the perfect time for siblings to get together, argue about which game to play, argue about who is going to play each character, argue about who has the first turn. It's all fun. Though with children now being born with iPads, I don't really know how many kids are actually playing physical games. But for us Gen Z kids, we had the classics. Monopoly Junior, Snakes and Ladders, Twister. These all are pretty regular games. But then there's the non-classic games, the stranger, more creative kind of games. So today, we're talking about cursed children's board games from my childhood. So the 2000s and the 2010s. So before we start, this is an Iceberg video. So the games at the top are kind of more normal, but the further down you go, the stranger and the more questionable they get. Okay, tip of the iceberg. This section is Animal Chaos. So we're starting quite simple. There's like a lot of bright colours in this section, a lot of plastic. These are the kinds of games that you get out when your friends come round to play. So it's kind of more normal, just like a bit more chaotic, but like the fun kind of chaos. Okay, the first game we're going to talk about is Hungry Hungry Hippos. And literally every child has played this game at some point. My household owned both the branded version and like an off-brand version. And the off-brand version was like a mini one. But both, whatever you have, are basically the same. You have 4 plastic hippos, and then you have like a pit of marbles, and you like mash a lever as fast as you can to make your hippo go forward and like eat as many marbles as possible. There's like no like rules apart from that, there's no taking turns, there's no like planning or strategy. There's just like speed and aggression. As a child, this was like really fun to play. And it was also like a really good way to release energy. The only downsides are like, the marbles tend to get lost, and it's quite a noisy game to play. Okay, the next one is Let's Go Fishing. This is calmer than the last one. There's like a rotating pond of plastic fish that like open and close their mouths, and you have like a little plastic hook that you have to like catch them with. I liked this one, but it is a bit noisy, especially if you had like a clunkier off-brand version. But it's another game where you don't really have to explain the rules, it's just self-explanatory. The only downside is you always kind of get that one kid that like decides to like stick their finger in the fish, and then they complain that they got bit. But apart from that, it's a pretty solid game. Okay, I like elephant. It's like a plastic elephant that like has like a fan in, so it blows like little butterflies in the air through its trunk, and then like they're like really floaty like butterflies that like float down, and you have to have a little net to catch them. Um, I had this as a child, but I never remember actually playing it properly because we either didn't have the batteries or like at some point it actually got like fully broke. But I liked just playing with like the little butterflies, but actually like playing it how you're supposed to. It is quite a fun game and it's quite different. You're actually like physically doing something, but it's like, it's good. Okay, we move on to level 2 of the iceberg. So this section is called Animal Stress and Exploitation. Um, you know, when we look a little closer on these board games, you find the animals stop being like cute little mascots and, it becomes like waiting and like anticipating the moment something snaps. So a really good example of this is Buckaroo. I hated this as a child. It's about like you have like a little mule, like donkey thing. I don't know the difference between a mule and a donkey, but you have a donkey, right? And you're like putting a load of like random plastic objects on him. So there's like a satchel, there's a hat, there's like tools and stuff, and you like take turns balancing these things on him. But at some point, the donkey like kicks his back legs really violently, and everything flies off. And I think because I was a child with undiagnosed autism, I think that's like why I hated it, because the noise it made like I hated it, and also it was unpredictable, so I couldn't even like properly prepare for the noise and I don't know. I hated it. But I did like playing with the plastic pieces. So, like the little hat and the saddle, I used to like, I don't know, my Barbies used to have them and stuff. But yeah, I do not like this game. Okay, you're gonna notice a theme of like pigs. I don't know why, but the 2000s were like obsessed with making pig games. Toss the Pig is what I can tell is kind of like musical chairs or something like that. I couldn't really find that much about it, and I don't really care that much. But why are we throwing a pig around? Okay, moving on to level 3, food and consumption, or overconsumption, I should say. In this section, we go from stressing out animals to force feeding them. So we're gonna go back to hungry, hungry hippos. And when you're little, this game is like innocent and it's nice. But when you really think about it, it's for animals aggressively eating everything in front of them as fast as possible. And the winner is whoever consumes the most. So I don't really like that. We're going to the main offender, which is Pop the Pig. Um, Basically, the game is you roll a dice. You have these little like plastic hamburgers that have numbers on. You get the one that matches the dice roll. Feed the pig the burger. You hit him on the head, and then his stomach like grows. And then you just keep on doing this until he like actually explodes. Um, I don't know. Like I never had this as a child. I only like played it when I would go to like other people's houses. Um, but I think it's like really interesting to think about what went into the planning of this game. Like, were there just like a bunch of like grown adults in like some kind of business meeting, like planning this and being like, yeah, we're gonna do this. This is gonna be a great game. I mean, it sold really well, so like I guess it worked. But um, I don't know. I think that's a funny thing to think about. Okay, we have a side game that's like connected to this game. Pop the Pig, Pop and Race. We so this is just like kind of the same but a racing version. This isn't actually that bad because it's just like a classic format of a game. It's just like with a pig slapped on it. But I'm just kind of annoyed at how much they're milking the idea of like having this pig everywhere. Next one is Greedy Granny. Um, and this is like kind of opposite because you're doing the opposite of feeding. You're like taking away food from someone, but the concept is still strange. You're like sneaking snacks off of Granny's chair while she's like sleeping. And if you like accidentally wake her and she like catches you, her like dentures go like flying somewhere. And I kind of feel bad because this lady just wanted a nap. Her like grandkids were probably keeping her up like all day and all night, and now they're just stealing their food. Like you can't convince me that like treating a grandma like this is okay. Okay, level 4, medical and body horror. So far we have talked about animals and food, but now we're just gonna get to something so much worse. Why were there so many children's games like based around like surgery and like bodily stuff? Like I don't know what's going on. But the first one is Operation. This one is like one that like everyone had, everyone's played, and it's not so bad because like this is kind of somewhat educational, kind of. You have a fake patient lying on like a plastic hospital bed, and you have like tweezers, and your job is to like carefully remove random objects from his body. Though it is kind of strange what he has in there. He's got like a wishbone, a butterfly, a rubber band. But if you accidentally like knock the sides, he like buzzes and like his nose lights up red. So this is like kind of you have to have a really steady hand to do it. But this is like kind of medical malpractice kind of things. I could see like a kid playing this and then going into like, oh yeah, I could do this on the side. I don't know. I feel like you kind of just play this game. You're like doing surgery on like a fully conscious man. Like you can see his eyes open, and then your siblings are like screaming in the background somewhere. The next one is Gooey Louie. And I really, really hated this game. I was like a clean kid. Like I did not want any kind of like I was like freaking out over like things like this. I never saw this game in person, but the adverts were more than enough to traumatize me. Um I hated this game so much that I'm not even going to explain it, and I'm just gonna like move on to the next one. Okay, this one is just literally disgusting. Doggy do. You feed a plastic dog, and then he takes a dump right there on the table. Why does this even exist? I don't know. I don't know. Moving on. Um, Level 5. Traps, punishment, and inevitability. Let's take a step back for a second. There's animals under stress, there's force feeding, there's like live surgery, and there's like a lot of explosions. What's after that? Let's think back to Buckaroo for a minute. It's not about balance, it's about tension. The donkey will kick, you know it, and everyone else does. But the only thing you don't know is when. And that's the pattern with these games. The pig will pop, the granny will wake, the dog um will do what the dog does. And when you really think about it, they're not peaceful board games. They're controlled chaos, designed to create anticipation and like a lot of noise and like a lot of arguments in your siblings. Um, yeah, that's I don't know. That's all I've got. Um, when we were kids, we didn't really question any of these. Well, actually, I did a little bit, especially the Gooey Loo one, but not as much as I do as an adult. Because like, who designed these? But I mean, they were just games to play with your fellow kids, and even though I hated some of them, I think they build character. I know they build memories. So there's a lot of memories of like sitting and waiting for like the plastic things to scream at me or like do whatever it does. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to end this video. But I just had to bring attention to this. Like there's a lot of good board games and like I love chaos, you know. And I love like weird concepts and stuff. But not when it's like involving like actually disgusting things. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. What was your favorite or your least favorite cursed board game that you played as a kid? Let me know. Um Bye bye.